Before you judge, meet Dr. Robert White-Adams. He goes by Dr. Bob. He's a vet based in Somerset, England.
And a few years ago was involved in a project where we created an art exhibition or an art museum for dogs.
In preparation for the exhibit, he taught the artists involved to experience the world like dogs do, through a dimmer color palette and a profound sense of smell.
They're smelling what yesterday and 3 days ago and a week ago was. So their world that they build inside their heads has a whole extra dimension that we don't experience minute by minute. They have time built into their vision of the world in the form of smell.
The exhibition featured an open car window simulator that blew out aromas like old shoes, giant-sized dog bowls, paintings in colors to match a dog's color spectrum, dancing water jets that leapt from one dog bowl to the next. The dogs appeared to be enjoying themselves.
I had my own dog with me. She was a 9-year-old retriever then, and you can't help thinking there must be some doggy equivalent of bafflement, intrigue.
Most people thought it was kind of a joke, so I tried to take a look at it from a more serious standpoint.
Concepcion Cortez is a postdoctoral fellow at the University of Malaga in Spain.
And I usually work around the presence and agency of animals in contemporary art.
Her eyebrows raised when she heard that the exhibition was billed as the world's first for dogs. She's the author of papers such as The Seagull Stole My Camera and My Shot, overlapping metaphorical and physical distances in the human-animal camera triad. So she knows her stuff. She can think of at least 2 art exhibitions for dogs that took place back in the 70s. One was held in a seaside village in Spain. 2 artists held the exhibition with their dog, Chispas Luis.
He was there all the time. And so the dog became naturally involved in the collaboration.
They made music together. Paintings paid tribute to sausages and old boots, and at times the artists began to act like canines.
Because they were like territorial artists, like trying to win the other one.
In a separate show, one of the artists later recorded the sounds of sad dogs howling for the public. The humans enjoyed the show, but the artists recommended the canines stay away because
the dogs were like aware of the meaning more than their human companions.
And many decades later, the humans haven't stopped creating exhibits for 4-legged creatures. Jessica Dawson runs an exhibit and a concept called Dogumenta, with Micah Scalin and a Morkie named Rocky. When Dawson moved to New York City, she was overwhelmed by the artwork, not Rocky.
He was unleashed into the gallery space and went straight up to an artwork, sniffed it, looked around, just gave his whole body and all his senses and energy to the work around him. And I felt that I'd lost some of that.
It was clear she had a lot to learn from Rocky. The work in their first show followed in the tradition of art history, like one sculptural piece that was simple and blocky.
It had a grid, a light blue, very, very delicate grid of paint, pigment, that was reminiscent of Agnes Martin, another minimalist artist. So these are clear references. This is more for the humans. These are references for humans.
But in this show, these references are obsolete because it's the show for dogs. During the day, the pups began to mark the piece. And by mark, she means mark. This created a kind of drip.
Almost a Jackson Pollock drip at that point, because the pigment dripped down, and this was all created by the pups that came through the exhibition.
The piece changed over time, like the kind of interactive artwork very much in vogue these days. You could say it had similarities to Warhol's oxidation paintings. But more importantly, everyone was welcome to enjoy this space. People who had never been to art shows before showed up with their dogs. Lizards, turtles, and even cats showed up. It might seem ridiculous, but sometimes it's necessary to be transported away from the human world.
And I'm grateful to Rocky and all his 4-legged friends for giving us that.
For Philosophy Talk, I'm Holly J. McTeed.